A lot of people don't know, but over 50% of our workforce is actually manufacturing. We are not a technology town. We are not a university town. Hey, this is Matt Pichet, the Fruitful Investor, and your investing coach. And today's video is about how the Ontario rent controls really suck and why even continue investing here when other provinces in Canada do not have rent controls. For example, in Alberta, landlords can increase their rents every year to however much they want, whereas here in Ontario, we can only increase it every year by what the government tells us we can. For example, going into 2018, we're only allowed to increase our rents by 1.8% of the total rent, which is hardly anything. So why continue even investing here? Number one, because we have a GDP growth that's growing faster than the national average. So that's one of the first things you want to look for before even investing anywhere, is to find out if the province where you're investing in has a GDP growth that's growing faster than the national average. And then we boil it down even more from there. In that province where we want to invest, we find a city that you bet that has a GDP growth that's growing faster than the provincial average. So we're scaling it down to finding a good area, and then we specialize in that area. Now, why even care about GDP growth? As I always say, and this isn't things that I made up, I learned these tools from other more successful investors, is when you have a GDP growth that's growing quickly and faster than provincial national averages, what happens is you have job growth in that city. Now, why do we care about that? Because when we have job growth, we have population growth, which means people are moving in to get these jobs. Now, what happens when a flood of people come to an area? Well, there's an increase in rental demand. Why? When people move to a new area, they don't want to buy a home most often. They want to rent, get to know the area, and they'll pay top rents when they have a good job. So you'll see rents increase, and then what happens when rents increase? Increase on real estate prices. So the general real estate market, that will have a huge spike in prices. So what a lot of the people in the media talk about is when it's here, the boom. You know, this is when the boom's kind of happening, and then the media will talk about it, and your everyday Joe will talk about it. But the sophisticated, savvy investor starts investing maybe here. He sees GDP growth growing, job growth, wait, because you don't want to buy just yet. Then when people start moving in, then you buy here, and then by the time you hold it and you get to here, this could be about a year, 12 months, 18 months from here to here, then you start reaping the rewards, definitely. But a lot of people, average people, start buying real estate here, which isn't bad. If you're holding real estate long term, you're gonna make money no matter what, pretty much, if you're buying in the right area. But if you really want to catch, the wind or whatever, or catch the demand, you want to be buying back here. And that's how savvy investors invest in area. I know I got off topic a little bit, but we have a very fast GDP growth here in Ontario, and that's why it makes Ontario a really good area. And when you come Southern Ontario, especially in the Kitchener-Waterloo, where I specialize in, Hamilton and Barrie, Ontario, London, this is why these are really good areas to invest in. Okay, so number two, because it's growing like crazy, especially in Kitchener-Waterloo specifically, which is where I invest, is where this channel is based on. Kitchener-Waterloo is growing very quickly because of Google, other industries. It's a great place to live. It's in between Toronto and London. So people who work in those towns, it's kind of like a commuter zone. The University of Waterloo, Laurier, there's a lot going on for Kitchener-Waterloo, and a lot of people are starting to move in, and have been seeing a ton of growth, especially in the past 5-7 years here in Kitchener-Waterloo. And that's good, because what does that mean? We're in this section right now. All right, so tons of people are moving. Rents have gone up so much this past year, which also has to do with the big boom we had in real estate. That had a big part of it. But we have constant immigration and net migration coming in here. So really fantastic place to invest, to put your money in for long-term growth. Number three, why even invest in Ontario and Kitchener-Waterloo specifically? Because we have lots of jobs, especially here in Kitchener-Waterloo. It's a very, very diverse economy. A lot of people don't know, but over 50% of our workforce is actually manufacturing. We are not a technology town. We are not a university town. like a lot of people talk about. We'll probably get there eventually in the near future, but right now we are still a big, heavy blue collar manufacturing town, which is great because our tenants, majority of the time, are blue collar, working class tenants, which is exactly the type of tenant you want. That's what I specialize in myself with single family. They're great tenants. We have a lot of big industries, obviously technology industry, university industry. We have big mutual funds and white collar industries. So there's a ton going on. So if we ever have a recession, which a lot of people are predicting to happen in the very near future, just across Canada and America generally, Kitchener-Waterloo is pretty insulated because we have such diverse industries. If one industry takes a hit, the others are kind of picking up the slack and still providing tenants and migration to happen and all that good stuff. So those are 3 reasons why you should continue investing in Ontario, even though the rent controls suck. Yes, I understand the long-term growth in Ontario as opposed to British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, which yes, those can be great areas to invest in. I'm not knocking those areas, but compared to an Ontario, which is the engine of Canada, no matter what you say, Ontario really is the hub of Canada. It's really pushing Canada along, I think, anyway. So that's the reason why it's great to invest in Ontario. If you like this video, if you learned anything, please click like right below. And to find out more about my real estate investing apprenticeship program, about how you can partner with me and I can become your real estate coach for free, you can find out about that right about here. And to watch more videos, you can watch those right about here. See you in the next video.